I don't think you guys realize how much the mighty have fallen in this game, you know? I mean, this game is so dead in NA.
Battle Royale's popularity has definitely peaked, and the hype that used to surround it just doesn't really seem to be there anymore.
Apex Legends revenue figures reveal massive drop in popularity.
With all of this in mind, it's not wrong to assume that this could very well be the end for the Battle Royale genre.
The era of extraction may be upon us, and Battle Royales may be on their way out of the limelight.
Fortnite's dying. Why is it dying, and why does that make me so happy?
Well, based on all of this, surely there can't be that many popular Battle Royales still out there. Oh. Well then, at this point it's safe to say that Battle Royales are still popular, and are here to stay whether you like it or not. However, despite the popularity of them, I have to say BRs have to be one of the most polarizing terms in gaming. It's hard to find a video that praises them, but you can easily find video essays onto why they suck. And the same isn't true for other types of games. Look at MMOs. There's so many that pop up now, but you won't see hundreds of people in the comment section saying, "Not another MMO." This is just a WoW clone, dead on arrival. Yes, there will be some, but nothing compared to the amount of comments you will see on the trailers of newly released Battle Royales. Well, in this video, I want to explore why so many people still play these games, and give some reasons why people utterly dislike them. The most common statement people will say towards Battle Royales are that they are repetitive, which at first you might say it's true, but if you think about it, aren't most online multiplayer games repetitive, especially shooters? These arguments will boil down to simplifying the gameplay loop of a Battle Royale as you drop in, loot, fight, die, repeat. Most arena shooters like Quake, or even old school Call of Duty follow a similar formula too. Minus the looting part, you still load in, fight, and die till you had your fill of losing and winning games. I currently play Valorant, and I have to say it's 10 times more repetitive than any BR that I've played. There's been times where I've done the same thing 4 rounds in a row against an enemy because it was working. If it wasn't for their rank mode and esports scene, I probably would be playing either Apex or Fortnite right now. And the thing that makes Battle Royales different is the creative freedom that developers can have when designing one. The map is a huge part of this. I basically see a Battle Royale map as a bite-sized version of an open world map, where you can explore, loot, and possibly find something new that you didn't see in your previous run, all while fighting people. I guess this is why some people were calling BRs in the early days as a type of roguelite. A well-designed BR map will have multiple points of interest that don't feel exactly the same, and even offer players a different way to play the game. Fortnite in its early days did a great job of this. Players who were hungry for a non-stop dopamine rush would land at tilted towers and just engage in fights. But there could be other areas that are typically less populated for players who wanted to take things slower. Just changing your starting point would quickly transform your experience. Plus, a good zone pool could help add to the replayability as well. You may land at the same spot, but if you survive long enough, a new zone could push you to a different area that you may have not explored in your previous match, thereby creating a somewhat new experience. Then there's an opportunity to do in-game events, tell a story, and change the weapon pool as well. This is something that other game modes may struggle with, especially the ones that box players in with objectives on a singular smaller map. There's nothing wrong with them, but the opportunity for creativity is a lot less. All these things will be hard to do in a respawnable game mode like TDM, Search and Destroy, or Domination. Also, any content update that you can think of for games like Overwatch, CS2, or even Valorant, a Battle Royale can do too, and then some. You have a new playable character in Overwatch, or a different comp in Valorant? Apex can relate. You're getting a singular new map today? How about 2 new POIs added to your existing BR map? Or even a completely different BR map altogether with multiple new ones. Best believe they have a number of weapons as well as cosmetics too. Now, change could be a double-edged sword because it could bring something new that you like, or something new that you hate with a passion too. I think Counter-Strike and Team Fortress are games typically brought up as an argument for why a good game doesn't need constant updates, but I think their success is mainly due to them being owned by Valve, the same people who own Steam. Those shooters also have the benefit of growing during a time where there was less competition, so creating not only a player base, but more importantly a dedicated fan base that will ride and die for the developers was a little bit easier too. There could be other reasons why those games are still perceived as popular despite a lack of changes being made, but I kinda don't want to open that can of worms in this video. New shooters today are competing with so many other games and forms of media for your attention. I can even see The Finals, which is an amazing game by the way, possibly ending up as a shell of itself too. But this leads me to my next point. I have yet to say Battle Royale genre for a reason, and that's because it should be looked at as a game mode. I say this because people see Battle Royales and immediately say there's too many of them, dead in 2 weeks, too much competition, blah 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 blah. Well, I think the shooter genre in general is saturated. There's over 30 new non-BR shooters that come out every year, and you probably never heard of them because of the sheer number of them. A lot of those shooters die just as quickly as newly released BRs. If a shooter dies, it's because the game itself was bad or made mistakes along the way, not because of the game mode necessarily. I still think there's room for new BRs too. Whether it's a fighting game, shooter, or a mix of both, fans of these game modes would be down to try a new one. It's up to the developers and publishers to come out with enough new content to compete with the other games on the market. And to be fair, there were a lot of cash grab games banking off of the BR boom, which added to the disdain people had towards them. Cash grabs aren't only for battle royales either. I think if you're coming out with a shooter today, it's going to be really hard. Just making a quality multiplayer online gun game seems like a serious challenge, but you're also going to need more than just one mode to compete with other well-established titles. Fortnite, Apex, Call of Duty, and even PUBG have other options outside of their Battle Royale game mode. This is one of the many reasons why I feel like the extraction shooter boom that we're starting to live in will have a hard time coming close to that of the BR boom. Most of them are just focusing on the extraction mode as their bread and butter, which is okay, but even Tarkov noticed this and came out with an arena version of the game. But that's a video for another day. To get back on topic, if people aren't saying this now, then they will in a few years. Fortnite is more like a high quality Roblox than it is similar to Apex. The amount of things you can do in Fortnite is just absolutely ridiculous. However, for other titles like Apex, you can say that Battle Royale is still their most popular option because the gameplay loop offers more creativity, which in turn helps with the replayability. Now, I'm not going to turn a blind eye to the problems that are inherent to every Battle Royale, one of which is the single life aspect that you will find in most. Again, this is a double-edged sword for shooters. On one hand, it makes every engagement more risky and heightens the stakes, thereby making memorable moments easier, since every shot could mean the difference between getting a sweet elimination or being sent back to the lobby. On the other hand, getting eliminated feels a lot more harsh, especially if queue times are more than 3 minutes. It really makes a run suck when the first person you see ends up just annihilating you in seconds. However, a good battle royale in my opinion will add second life chances like a reboot system or even a gulag, which you see in Warzone. I honestly don't know why more BRs don't try to add this. But at the end of the day, these are just band-aids that I personally am okay with. But for a lot of players, I can understand why it could be a deal breaker. Then there's the whole competitive and esports problems all battle royales will face. There's still a need for skills like aiming and positioning too. Also, don't get me wrong, some RNG is needed to make games feel good, but at times battle royales feel like they have too much when you compare them to the likes of CS, Valorant, and even Rocket League. In those titles, players have a lot more control on the end results. This makes it easier to measure what is skill versus what is luck. However, as a spectator of esports, watching the early days of Fortnite and Apex was peak for me. I remember being in high school and being in so much awe when witnessing summer skirmishes and how fun they were. Stories like Aiden and Nick Mercs going head to head in Tilted Towers was a blast to witness live. Even the absolute madness that actual pro players were able to do in the final circles was a spectacle for me and others. The very nature of battle royales made the endings all so much better too. I love Valorant esports. This channel will most likely be covering it daily, but I would be lying if I said there weren't times I saw myself dozing off in the middle of a Valorant match. Valorant at its peak is amazing, but not every team can make it exciting to watch from beginning to end. Of course, this is just a preference. I still believe the potential for BRs as a spectator esports is high, but I don't think any major companies are willing to put in the same amount of effort into them anymore that you would see in other titles like CS and Valorant. Overall, battle royales are here to stay, and rightly so. Aim assist can be annoying if you're a mouse and keyboard player, but you can't deny that battle royales really help push gaming into the mainstream, as well as bridge players across platforms. I think burnout is the main reason for a lot of people who once played BRs to just drop them. It's hard to play any game for hundreds or even sometimes thousands of hours and expect not to be exhausted from them. I'm surprised how many times I did 24-hour streams for Spellbreak, but I had a blast. I still play some BRs till this day. I treat them more casual too, and not to take them seriously. I would be very surprised if another genre or game mode would come close to what BRs were able to do and accomplish. I like to reply to every comment left within the 48 hours of a video being published, so let me know down below if you feel similar to these types of games, or if you disagree with my points. Regardless, stay safe and hopefully I'll see you in my next video.